What's up, losers? Today I'm back with another r/am I the asshole video. Taking a look at a couple of spicy stories, sharing my observations and opinions about them, and trying to figure out who the real assholes are in each of them. This is episode 12 in the Am I the Asshole series. And I've got some quality material lined up for this one. So without further ado, let's get into it. The first post I'm going to check out is by user throw9002424, and it is titled, Am I the Asshole, for making a TikTok about how losing 70 pounds alleviated my medical problems. This ought to be good. Let's give it a read.
When the pandemic hit, I made a big decision in life to lose weight. From that time period, I lost in total 70 pounds. And put on some muscle too. A lot of people in my family have been supportive, but my mom and sisters have been upset with me. They said that I brought a lot of food anxiety in the house, and that I would shame them, because I turned down eating a lot of food with them. After I moved out of the house, a lot of those problems went away. I recently made a TikTok, talking about how losing weight really helped out a lot of indirectly related medical issues, like my sleep apnea, PCOS, and a lot of my skin issues that weren't medical, but made it not look as nice. I ended up getting over 180k views, and almost all of the comments on TikTok were positive. However, when my friends and family found out about it, they were furious. They are saying that I am not a doctor. See, I shouldn't say that losing weight fixed my other problems, and that I am implying that they deserve what is happening to them, because they are fat too. I told them that I made this video for myself, and to share my journey. They don't view it that way. They are viewing it as me rubbing it in, and that I am proud of conforming my body for the male gaze, and that the way I lost weight was not healthy.
Haha, wow, what an absolute deluge of fat activist nonsense. I swear, man, some of these guys must lie awake at night thinking up new ways to embarrass themselves. Like, conforming her body to the male gaze. Really, when the whole TikTok was specifically about her, notably unglamorous, health issues, and how the weight loss helped to alleviate them. That's conforming to the male gaze. Is it? Give me a fricking break. Talk about projection, just because they can't imagine putting in any effort for the sake of their health. They assume that everyone else must just be worried about appearances like they are. How sad. Also, I almost spat out my Diet Coke when I saw the part about how OP is not a doctor, and is therefore not entitled to share the benefits of her weight loss. Like, fat activists will spend all day trashing doctors for telling them to lose weight, deny their credentials, and accuse them of conspiring to make fat people suffer through their treatment methods. But when OP does something for her own health, that any doctor would encourage, reaps the rewards, and shares her success with the world, all of a sudden only doctors are allowed to voice their opinions on matters relating to health. Get the frick outta here. If you really care about what doctors think, maybe you should lose some weight yourself, rather than jealously raging at OP for doing what you refuse to. Because this is just making you look ridiculous. On the whole, this post is just the perfect example of the fat acceptance victim complex in action. All OP did was lose weight for her own sake, and share her story on TikTok, so that it might educate or inspire others in a similar position to her. But her toxic-ass friends and family members, painfully insecure as they are, have to read an insult into it where there was none, make it all about them, and come up with 101 rationalizations for why OP is the bad guy. And why, in spite of all outward appearances, they hold the moral high ground. What a joke. OP is completely in the right. And good on her for losing all that weight. She well and truly deserves all the benefits she has worked so hard for. Anyone who went against her on this clearly doesn't value her health, or respect her right to make her own choices. So they're all assholes. As far as I'm concerned. It's as simple as that. Moving on. The next post is by user West Historian 6421. And it is titled, "Am I the Asshole for embarrassing my coworker on purpose? Despite understanding the joke."
I, 27 female, am very pale. I don't like to tan, nor going in the sun. And my family comes from Russia. So we are naturally pretty pale. I go on a jog in 5 a.m. and 11 p.m. So the sun isn't out at those times. Yes, I know it's a beauty standard to be tan. But I don't really care. The reason I don't like going in the sun is because 1. I faint when I stay in the sun a lot. 2. I don't like it. And 3. Even if I want to tan, God knows why, I don't get tan much. I work in the same office as another girl. Let's call her Tori, 29 female. She is lesbian, and I am lesbian too. At the office some people have joked before about us dating. Tori has the habit of making jokes about me, mostly about my pale skin. Since Tori is naturally tan, as she is Japanese, I mostly ignore her, so it doesn't bother me much. Yesterday I sat down with my coworkers to have lunch. As I was opening my lunchbox, one coworker goes, "When are you two gonna start dating?" As a joke, to which Tori replies, "Nah, I don't date vampires. What if she sucks my blood out in my sleep?" Everyone starts laughing. I get a bit annoyed and say, "What do you mean? I don't get it." She tries to explain, and again I say, "But I'm not a vampire. I don't get it." An awkward 20-minute silence passes until break time is over. Later Tori pulls me aside and tells me that I embarrassed her, and calls me a racist asshole. So, am I the asshole? Edit. I think she might think that I'm racist, because Russians are known to be. Edit. To the person who said, "You're the asshole if you can't take a pale joke. You're clearly a humorless bore. No one genuinely gives a shit about paleness. What a sad thing to be insecure about. I'm not insecure about my paleness. And I actually like it. As to being a humorless bore, you know, when you make a joke, the butt of the joke has to laugh too. Otherwise, it ain't a joke. Plus, I could easily pull, "Why are Japanese people's eyes pulled?" Crap. But I didn't. Right. Edit. A lot of people pointed out that my second edit was racist. Trust me, it's not, since if I did say it, they are both jokes about ethnicity. Edit. I am not racist. Edit. I would like to apologize for the hurtful thing I said, and sorry for being ignorant and insensitive, and sorry to those that I have offended by saying it.
Wow, that's a pretty big yikes on the edits. Especially when nearly everyone was siding with her based on the initial post. I don't want to spend too long on talking about that whole mess, because I'm more interested in the actual incident that took place. But I will say that the point she tried to make about Japanese people's eyes was very ill-advised and offensive. I'm not comfortable decisively stating that she's a racist, because I don't know her, and she may have just been trying to make a point and gone about it really badly. But regardless, to compare a fairly innocuous comment about a white person's pale skin to the cruel racism of Asian eye jokes is extremely ignorant at best. And I can certainly see why people would be upset by such a comparison. At the very least, I'm glad that she apologized. With all of that out of the way though, there's a fair bit about the post itself that left me confused. Not least of all, why OP was so upset at the joke in the first place. Like, she claims that she isn't insecure about her pale skin, and actually likes it. Yet when Tori, seemingly jokingly, calls her a vampire, she takes it really badly, and sees fit to make a big scene out of it. Never mind the fact that between her 5 a.m. and 11 p.m. runs, her tendency to faint if she goes out in the sun, and her self-admittedly pale skin, OP kinda does sound like a vampire, haha. Tori's joke seemed, to me at least, like an attempt to shift the focus away from the awkward question of when the two of them were going to start dating. And if OP is genuinely not bothered by how pale her skin is, there's no real reason to get mad over it. I suppose technically, Tori probably should have asked OP beforehand whether she was comfortable with jokes about her skin. But even so, OP's response seems, to me at least, a little overblown. For what it's worth, I actually have personal experience relating to this subject, as I have quite pale skin, a dislike of bright light, and a tendency to go to bed extremely late at night, for which I have been called a vampire on more than one occasion. And speaking for myself, it never bothered me in the slightest. So make of that what you will, haha. I'm also a little confused as to why Tori would have called OP a racist. Based only on what's in the post, and I have to wonder whether we're being given the full, unedited story of what went down, especially considering OP's subsequent comments in her edits to the post. Maybe Tori just tosses the word racist around super lightly, but I kinda doubt that that's what's really going on. And I have to assume that there's more to all of this than OP saw fit to let on. Unfortunately, we only get the one side of the story, so we can only go with what's available to us, and take it with an appropriately hefty grain of salt. As for my verdicts, I'm going to say, the coworkers are sort of assholes, for asking awkward questions in the workplace, and creating this whole messy situation. Tori is perhaps a bit of an asshole, for making a joke that clearly hurt OP's feelings, and having a go at her afterwards. Though as I say, I'm sure Tori has her own story to tell, that would paint things rather differently. And OP is an asshole for her offensive comments on the post. So I guess that means everyone is an asshole. Hooray, don't you just love a happy ending, haha. Anyway, onto the last post of the video. The last post I'm going to check out today is by user No Patience Throwaway, and it is titled, Am I the Asshole for dressing up as the Grim Reaper at my brother's wedding? Let's dive in.
I, 20 female, and my family, have a twisted sense of humor. Think, my uncle asking us to put skeleton hands sticking out of his grave before he died. And when he did die, we did so. My brother and sister-in-law got married a month ago, and had a costume party for their reception. They were going to get married on Halloween, but moved it up when other events came up. They still wanted costumes, though. I thought dressing up like the Grim Reaper would be hilarious. Because of, till death do us part. I ran the idea past my brother, and he approved. Then comes the day of the reception. Bride totally flips out at my costume, and my brother, who approved it, stood behind her. They made me go home and change. Ended up with a polo shirt, slacks, and a clipboard with business cards, and said I was a door-to-door salesman. This situation came up again today when my brother confronted me. Apparently sister-in-law had a breakdown, because my Grim Reaper costume showed up in some of the pictures the photographer took of the reception. And she hated it. She's demanding I pay her a portion of the money she invested in the photographer, since she now can't use many of the pictures. So, am I the asshole?
Oh hell no, you're not the asshole. It was funny, and more importantly, it was a damn costume party. Originally scheduled for Halloween, what were they bloody well expecting? Size. The idiocy knows no bounds. The bride's reaction here is obviously pretty bizarre and unreasonable, especially since the joke isn't even mean-spirited or anything. But I think the biggest villain of all has to be the brother, who literally confirmed with OP that the costume would be okay. Then not only turned on her when he saw his wife flipping out, but apparently backed her efforts to extract the photography money out of OP. Like, OP did nothing wrong, and she cleared things with you beforehand. And if you're afraid to stand up to your wife when she's being ridiculous, then you can pony up yourself. Bud, it's one thing to be a coward, but a coward and a cheapskate. Sheesh, not a good look. Sarah, yeah, OP's brother is the biggest asshole, followed closely by OP's sister-in-law. And OP did nothing wrong, and has a cool sense of humor. Oh, and I forgot to mention this before, but the uncle wanting skeleton hands sticking out of his grave, and getting it, was absolute gold. He sounds like a super fun guy. And I'm glad that OP and the rest of the family made his comedic vision a reality, haha. Well, that's all I've got for you today. I hope you had a good time reading through the posts with me, and that you got something out of my commentary. What do you think? Is losing weight, seeing your health improve, and sharing the results with the world a betrayal of your fat friends and family members? Is it okay to call someone with pale skin a vampire? Is dressing up as the Grim Reaper at someone's costume wedding reception funny? Who did you think were the assholes in each of the posts? Let me know in the comments. As always, don't forget to like and subscribe, or I'll crash your wedding with a troupe of costumed hooligans, led by me, dressed up as Dracula. Just kidding, haha. Anyway, catch you later.